Well, it's another quarter, another ban list. With tier limit hitting tier 0 in the TCG with the release of the Ishizu cards, many are looking to this ban list to bring them back in line with the rest of the game while also hoping for a few specifically targeted hits to problem cards in the meta. So let's hop into it. Newly banned are Curious the Lightsworn Dominion and Mystic Mine. Curious is a curious hit for sure, as its deck, Casino Tier Limit, hasn't been played since the vastly superior Ishizu Tier Limit took over the meta, but I suppose it's there in case Ishizu Tier falls in popularity. Mystic Mine is long overdue at this point. The card has been an issue for months now, and finally seeing it hit the ban list is a welcome sight indeed, although it does mean one of the main counters to Ishizu Tier Limit is now gone. Limited are Herald of the Orange Light, and that's it. Herald of the Orange Light holds a specific use in Ishizu Tier Limit right now, being that it's the one answer the deck reliably has for Dimension Shifter. So this will hurt the deck's matchup against Shifter decks, but aside from that, this is essentially a non-hit to Tier Limit. Semi-limited is Lyrilisk Recital Starling. Bird Up hasn't done anything since this card's limit, and I doubt it'll do anything now that it's back to 2 with some Morgue still banned, as that was the piece that allowed them to lock the opponent out with Barrier Statue. Lastly, removed from the list are Ptolemaeus, Dimensional Fissure, Fire Formation Tenki, Macrocosmos, and Metaverse. Ptolemaeus is easily the least impactful here, as most decks aren't interested in a 3 material rank 4, but it might come up from time to time now as a path into Cyber Dragon Infinity for decks that can make it. Fire Formation Tenki coming to 3 is a nice boost for Tri-Brigade players, but probably won't do much since it's just moving up from the semi-limited spot. Fissure, Macro, and Metaverse, however, are all huge moves, as it signals that rather than hitting Ishizu Tier directly, Konami is moving to buff their biggest counters. Fissure and Macro are massive buffs to Fluanderies, and we will probably see a significant rise in the deck's usage in particular with these releases, as the deck is easily the best deck in the meta for playing under macro effects currently. We may also see the rise of other stun-related strategies with these changes, but only time will tell there. Metaverse is a significantly powerful release as well. Even with Mine being banned, Metaverse still has the ability to activate extremely powerful game-winning field spells from the deck, like Necro Valley and Zombie World, so I expect it will probably see a significant amount of side deck play in the coming months. As for where I see the meta falling off of this, Ishizu Tier Limit is absolutely still the best deck in town, with Fluanderies behind it still by a decent distance. The changes that we got here are definitely going to close the gap a little bit, but not nearly enough to dethrone Tier, as Flu's changes are mostly just to help the deck going first, although their shifters are a bit safer now. I expect we'll probably also see a good bit more Exo Sister in the format, and Runic will probably completely die out off of these changes, though the Metaverse change might actually bring them up a little bit even with Mine banned. Branded Despia unfortunately kinda gets caught in the crossfire here, as the increase in macro effects does mean that they're not going to be able to set up their grave as reliably, but they do have a way to play around that in Lubellion, so this might actually help them overall. With all of that said, we'll see these changes in action soon enough, as there are a couple of YCSs just around the corner, so we'll see if this Tier 0 meta shifts to a more balanced state, but I severely doubt it.